Hello everyone. I'm here after a very long gap, and today I'm doing the analysis of the poem Beethoven by Shane Koyczan. This is specially for the students of class 12 who are preparing for the upcoming IC examination. Talking about the author, Shane Koyczan is a Canadian poet born on 22nd of May 1976, and he is very famous for writing anti-bullying poems. Coming to the analysis of the poem opens with the word listen. The poet wants us to pay attention to what he is about to say, or in other words, the poet wants us to listen to Beethoven's music before even we start reading the poem. The opening of this poem is so strong that it compels the reader to visualize a little innocent boy sitting by the piano and just about to start his concert. The poet then moves on to the second line. His father made a habit out of hitting him. See, some men drink, some men yell, some men hit their children. This man did it all because I guess all men want their boys to be geniuses. These lines changes the visualization. We see the boy's father standing beside him, scolding him and beating him. But the poet says, all men want their sons to be geniuses. The father wants his son to be a great musician in future. The poem continues. Beethoven, little boy living in a house where name meant nothing. Living in a house where mercy had to be earned through each perfect note tumbling up through the roof to tickle the toes of angels whose harps couldn't hold half the passion that was held in the hands of a young boy who was hard of hearing. These lines tells us about the hardships this little boy had to face. He was born in a musical family and his father was a music teacher. As said earlier, his father wanted him to be a great musician, top pianist in the world. And in the process of teaching him piano, he started abusing the little innocent boy. This little boy had to play every note, say perfectly, to earn mercy. But his father never appreciated. The notes Beethoven played with his tiny little fingers was so perfect that the poet says that the notes used to rise up through the roofs and tickle the toes of angels. And the music played by these angels in heaven was not even, half of the passion held in the hands of this young boy who was producing that music. And to our great surprise, it's also said that the boy was hard of hearing, means the boy who was playing such great music was partially deaf. He could not hear properly. Beethoven, who heard his father's anthem every time he puts his finger to ivory, it was not good enough. So he played slowly, not good enough. So he played softly, not good enough. So he played strongly, not good enough. And when he could play no more and his finger cramped up like the gnarled roots of tree trunks, it was not good enough. Beethoven was not just physically abused, he was also mentally tortured. I would like to ask each and every one of you watching this video, how do you feel if someone tries to put you down? If you say you want to do this and some great wise man comes and says you are not good at it, don't do it. How would you feel? Obviously, you will not feel good, right? And this was what Beethoven faced throughout his childhood. Every time he plays piano, his father repeats the same statement, not good enough. But we are talking about Beethoven. the great musician. He never gave up. He tried to impress his father every time. He played slowly, softly, strongly. He tried until his fingers cramped up. If you have ever tried playing piano, then you must know that the keys of the pianos are very hard. And Beethoven used to play until his fingers cramped up like gnarled roots of tree trunks. Still, his father was not happy. Beethoven, a musician, without his most precious tool, his eardrums, could no longer pound out rhythms for the symphonies playing in his mind. He couldn't hear the audiences clapping, couldn't hear the people loving him, couldn't hear the women in the front row whispering Beethoven. Now imagine the pain or suffering Beethoven faced because of his hearing impairment. He was a legendary musician, a great composer, and a magical pianist. He could not hear his own music that he was composing in his mind. He could not hear the audience clapping and could not hear the women whispering his name. What is to be noted here is that Beethoven is at a concert and playing music in front of a huge crowd. His music is so impactful that the crowd is applauding, shouting, but Beethoven is just hearing none of these. But his father's anthem, not good enough. This shows the trauma Beethoven faced throughout his life. As they let the music invade their nervous system like an armada marching through firing cannonballs, detonating every molecule in their body into explosions of heavenly sensation. Each note leaving track marks over every inch of that body, making them ache for one more hit. He was an addiction. These lines tells us how powerful Beethoven's music was. His music felt like armed forces marching in the warfield, firing cannonballs and coming to conquer your mind, your body, and your soul. It felt that his music was causing every molecule in the body to have that heavenly sensation. And people wanted more of it. The audiences wanted more of it. His music was an addiction to his listeners. And kings and queens, it didn't matter. The man got down on his knees for no one, but amputated the legs of his piano, so he could hear the vibrations through the floor. The man got down in his knees for music. These lines again tells us that music meant more than kings and queens for Beethoven, as he did not get down on his knees for them. But to feel the vibrations made by his piano, he got down in his knees. He could not hear, so the only way by which he could feel his music was through the vibrations made by his instrument. So to get better vibrations, he cut down the legs of the piano. This shows his dedication and commitment to music. And when the orchestra played his symphonies, it was the echoes of his father's anthem repeating itself like a broken record. It was not good enough. So they played slowly, not good enough. So they played softly, not good enough. So they played strongly, not good enough. This means that when the orchestra played Beethoven's composition, the echoes of his father's anthem could be heard and felt. His music sometimes went soft, sometimes slow, and sometimes strong, because this was how he had practiced, and this style of playing reminds us of his father's anthem. The poem continues. So they tried to mock the man, make fun of the madness by mimicking the movements, holding their bows a quarter of an inch above the string, not making a sound. It was perfect. See the deaf having intimacy with silence. It's there in their dreams. And the musicians turned to one another, not knowing what to make of the man trying to calculate the distance between madness and genius, realizing that Beethoven's musical measurement. The musicians were playing in an orchestra in every manner, slowly, softly, strongly, and they even tried to tease Beethoven by not producing any sound. But Beethoven heard music even in the silence, and they were shocked and surprised to see the music master having intimacy with silence. They were surprised to see Beethoven composing music out of the silence. They were confused because they were not able to recognize the person instructing them in the orchestra. Was he a musical genius or some sort of madness they were witnessing? Because the music that was flowing through their instrument was just mesmerizing. Realizing that Beethoven's musical measurements could take you to distances reaching past the towers of Babylon, turning solar systems into symbols that crashed together, causing comets to collide, creating crescendos that were so loud they shook the constellations until the stars began to fall from the sky. And it looked like the entire universe had begun to cry. Distance must be an illusion. The man must be a genius. Now, here, the Tower of Babylon is biblical, taken from the Bible, and mythological as well. As it said that people once tried to build a tower at Babylon that could touch the sky, but was incomplete. However, I'm not very sure about this. If anybody knows the story, please do share in the comment section. Coming back, Beethoven's music could take the listeners to a distance more above the Tower of Babylon, and this music was enjoyed by the people all over the world. It seemed as if God Himself created this music. His music felt as if the solar system had turned into symbols that were crashing together and were causing comets to collide, creating a very loud sound. The music produced was so loud that it shook the constellations and made the stars fall, and it looked like the entire universe was crying. All these, are the use of a poetic device, and it's called illusion. Illusion is a form of a figurative language in which an object, person, or idea is brought to mind without directly mentioning the name of what is being referred to. Again, comets colliding, creating crescendos, constellations, the consonant sounds are being repeated. This is the use of alliteration. Beethoven's music is described in a very different manner in this paragraph. All these are the use of illusion. Continuing with the poem, Beethoven, his thoughts moving with the speed of sound, transforming emotion into music, and for a moment it was like joy was a tangible thing, like you could touch it, like for the first time we could watch love and hate dance together in a waltz of such precision and beauty that we finally understood that history wasn't important to know the man. All we ever had to do was listen. The poet now tells us that Beethoven was transforming emotions into music. He was expressing his emotions through music. And for a moment, one could feel that joy was something that could be touched, like he was touching the keys of the piano and spreading happiness, spreading joy. He hated his early life, but his hatred came out along with the music which he loved. So love and hate danced with such precision and beauty. And this made us believe that history was not important to know this man. We just have to listen to his music. This poem teaches us that listening is a very important thing in life. The poem starts and ends with the word listen. We must listen to understand the problem someone is facing. We must listen to make the other person feel better. We must listen to learn. Another very important message the poet gives us is that we must never discourage anyone because we never know what he is capable of doing. And we must not abuse anyone because it haunts the person even at his success. As you just saw, that Beethoven did not hear the audience clapping and shouting. He just heard his father's anthem, not good enough. So, never abuse anyone. Here we complete the analysis of the poem, and I hope you've understood the poem. If not, do watch the video once again, and still, if you have any more questions, please let me know in the comment section. I'll try to help you as soon as possible. If you like this explanation, please do like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching.